Story 1. I didn't go into the woods to die. I went to disconnect, to be away. No screens, no emails. No constant reminders that life was racing past me and I hadn't even hit the gas. 3 months ago, I left everything behind. Job, phone, apartment. Bought a used tent, a water filter, a solar charger, and a map of the state forest. I planned to stay a week, maybe 2. Just me, trees, and silence. No more burnout, no more hustle, just peace. God, how wrong I was. On day 4, I found a cabin. Wasn't on the map. No trail signs pointed toward it. Just stumbled across it while following a deer path. It looked ancient, built with thick moss-covered logs. Roof sagging under the weight of decades. The door was slightly open, like it had been waiting. I should have walked away, but curiosity, it's a disease in the woods. You start to think nothing can touch you. I stepped inside. Dust choked the air. The cabin had no furniture, just a stone fireplace, a broken mirror nailed to the wall, and in the center, a pile of small animal bones arranged in a perfect spiral. That night I stayed near the cabin, convinced I'd found shelter in case of rain. The woods were quiet, too quiet. Then just past midnight, I heard a sound I'll never forget. It wasn't an animal. It was a voice. Far off at first, then closer. Calling my name. Not shouting, whispering, over and over. Eli, Eli, come in. But I hadn't told anyone where I was going. No one knew. No one should have been able to find me. I didn't sleep. At sunrise, I packed fast. That's when I noticed the footprints. Around my tent, circling it. Small, bare feet. Human. They weren't mine. They weren't fresh. But they hadn't been there the night before. I ran to the trailhead, or tried to, because the path was gone. Just trees, all around. Endless, identical. At some point, day 6 or 7, I think, I found a second tent. Identical to mine. Same brand, same color, same model, but inside it wasn't empty. There was a journal. My journal. Same handwriting, same entries. Up to the morning of that day, only the next page read, "He's here now, wearing me." And beneath it, a drawing of my face, but with black holes where the eyes should be. I turned around, saw myself standing 10 feet away. Then it smiled and walked into the trees. My food ran out. Then the water filter broke. The forest grew quieter. Even the birds stopped calling. And at night I saw fires between the trees. Strange blue flames. Always just far enough to tempt me. Never close enough to see the source. I followed one once. Just once. Found a circle of people. Naked and kneeling. Heads bowed to something tall and thin. With no face. Holding a mirror instead of a face. They didn't see me, but it did. It hit me that I hadn't seen the sun in 3 days. Light? Yes. But no sun, no warmth, just a dull, cold glow from above. Time didn't feel real anymore. I couldn't tell what day it was, couldn't tell if I was asleep or awake. And the cabin? It started appearing closer. No matter how far I walked, I'd find it again. Different angles, different sides. Sometimes the door open, sometimes shut. One night I passed it and saw myself inside, staring into the mirror, bleeding, smiling. I'm writing this with a stick in the dirt because I lost a notebook weeks ago. Or maybe I burned it, I can't remember. I haven't eaten in days, haven't spoken in weeks, but I still hear the voice. Every night, closer. It wears my name now. Eli, you're almost done, just one more sleep. If someone finds this, if anyone hears the whisper, don't follow it. Don't look into the mirror. Don't listen to yourself. Because it's not you. Not anymore. Addendum. Found note tacked to tree outside Forest Ranger Station. October 2024. To whoever finds this. I thought I came to the woods alone. I was wrong. Something else was already here. And now it wears my face. Please. Don't let it leave. Story 2. I'd been working 60-hour weeks, tethered to my phone and caffeine, when I finally snapped. I took a week off, turned off my devices, and drove 6 hours to the edge of the Pine Valley Reserve. One of those deep, uncommercialized woods that doesn't show up well on Google Maps. A friend of mine, Sam, who worked forestry, said the ranger cabins were unused during the off-season, and if I was discreet, I could crash in one for a few days. He handed me a key. "Don't go past the marked trails," he warned, "and whatever you do, don't answer if something knocks." I laughed. I shouldn't have. The cabin sat in a clearing surrounded by tall, dense pines. No neighbors, no nearby campsites. It looked worn but sturdy. Wooden walls scarred by weather, a tin roof, a stone fireplace, a small porch with a creaky swing. Inside, a cot, a writing desk, a shelf of waterlogged ranger manuals, and a wood stove. The strangest part was the walls. They were covered in writing, not paint, not marker, carvings, scratched deep into the wood, like fingernails or knives had etched them in panic. Most were single phrases, repeated over and over. "It wears their face. Don't answer. Only knocks once. Don't follow the laughter." I assumed it was graffiti, kids, maybe an old ranger with a twisted sense of humor. It happened around 2 a.m., a single deliberate knock on the door. Not a breeze, not an animal, not a branch falling. It was as clear and precise as a knock on an office door. I sat upright, frozen in my sleeping bag, heart pounding. No one came. Just that one knock. I waited for hours. At sunrise, I checked. No one was there. No footprints, just snow, untouched. I hiked during the day to calm my nerves. The forest was still, eerily quiet. Not a single bird call, not a rustle of movement. Just trees that seemed to lean closer the deeper I walked. I returned to the cabin around 5 p.m. That's when I noticed something wrong. The firewood I had stacked neatly by the door, gone. The coffee mug I left on the windowsill, inside, washed and sitting in the drying rack. Someone had been inside, but the door was still locked from the inside, and scratched into the table were new words. "It can't knock if it's already in." I woke to tapping on the glass. Not loud, soft, rhythmic, like someone gently knocking with their nails. I sat up in the dark. It was 3:11 a.m. The window was fogged. Then a handprint appeared on the outside of the glass. A full palm slowly dragging down. And behind it, a face. Not quite human. The features were too symmetrical. The eyes too wide. The skin was stretched too tight. It smiled. And then the knock came. Once. I tried to leave, packed everything, took the trail back toward my car. It felt wrong, like the trees shifted when I turned. No GPS, no phone signal. I followed orange trail markers. After what felt like hours, I came back to the cabin. Same path, same direction. Back again. When I tried to scream, I heard Sam's voice behind me. "Hey, I've been looking everywhere for you." I turned, relieved, only to see him 20 feet away standing still. But something was off. His mouth moved slightly after his words came out. His smile was fixed, and he didn't blink. I bolted through the woods in a direction I hadn't taken before, ignoring trails, diving through branches and brush. The forest grew thicker. I saw people in the distance, between trees. Silent, still, too still. One was me, down to the same coat and bag, just standing, head tilted, smiling. When I got back to the cabin, the writing on the walls had changed. New messages had appeared. "Don't drink the water. They wear what you leave behind. It can't create, it can only copy. Burn the body before the second knock." I looked at the fireplace. Inside was a burned coat. My coat, still smoking. At 1:44 a.m., I heard laughter outside. My laughter. Mimicked, twisted, a beat too slow. I didn't move. Then footsteps. A hand pressed against the door. The handle turned, but the bolt held. A voice said, "Eli, let me in. You forgot your keys." I didn't answer. The carvings were right. It only knocks if it's not already in. Then came the knock. Once. I haven't eaten, haven't slept. Every hour I stay, it gets stronger. It's not just mimicking people, it's becoming them. I watched it crawl out of the woods this morning, wearing Sam's skin like a costume. It peeled his voice open and practiced saying my name. It's waiting for me to leave the cabin, or open the door, or sleep. I'm not sure which. But the worst part? The mirror on the wall, my reflection's been blinking at the wrong times. Emergency call transcript. Found by Park Rangers, October 2024, Ranger HQ. Go ahead, caller. Caller. Distorted, breathy. There's a man, or something wearing a man, in cabin 12. Keeps knocking. Keeps smiling. Ranger HQ. What's your name, sir? Caller. Eli. Or I was. I think it got me. I think I'm in here too now. Ranger HQ. We're sending a team out. Stay on the line. Caller. It's learning how to blink. Call terminated. Story 3. I went hiking alone because that's what I do when the city claws too deep. No signal. No people. Just miles of forest and a backpack. I picked Bear Ridge Trail. A 15-mile loop few people take since it's steep and isolated. Perfect. I started around noon. The first 5 miles were silent. Just how I liked it, until I tripped over something sticking out of the leaf litter. It was a cell phone, black, dusty, still slightly warm. No ID, just one folder on the home screen labeled, "Do not open." So of course I opened it. The folder had 27 pictures, all of the same man, sleeping in a tent. Different angles, same man. Until photo 28. It was me, lying in my tent last night. I hadn't taken that picture. My tent was still packed. I hadn't camped yet. But the photo showed me, curled in my sleeping bag, wearing the same clothes I was wearing right then. The timestamp? Tonight, 2:43 a.m. My heart dropped. I wanted to leave, but the trail was steep and I was already 5 miles in. Turning back meant night hiking through dangerous terrain. I pocketed the phone and moved forward. Around 6:30 p.m., I set up camp near a small clearing. I didn't want to sleep, but I couldn't walk blind in bear country. The wind whispered through the trees like voices too far away to understand. I didn't light a fire. I didn't eat. I just stared at that phone. At photo hash 29, it had updated. Now there were 2 people in the picture, me, asleep, and something crouched beside me. Tall, wide-eyed, smiling. I didn't sleep. Just sat in the tent, knife in hand, phone screen dim. At 2:42 a.m., I checked the camera app. Nothing. 2:43. Still nothing. Then I heard a twig snap outside the tent. Soft breathing. I didn't move. The phone vibrated. One new photo added. I slowly turned the screen. Photo hash 30. Me. Right then. Taken from behind. At first light, I tore down camp and ran. No food, no rest. I followed the GPS to circle back to the trailhead, but the GPS kept glitching. Eventually, I saw a ranger tower. Relief surged in me like a drug. I climbed up, pounded on the door. Inside was an old wooden chair, a folded ranger uniform, a name tag that read James, the same face from the first pictures in the phone. He was the one sleeping in those early photos. And now, he was gone. Next to the tower was a small emergency shelter, barely a cabin. I took shelter there as night fell. I checked the phone again. Now there were 48 photos. The newest ones were no longer sleeping shots. They were all of me running, from behind, from the trees, from high above. In one of them, the creature's arms were stretched wider than a person should be able to reach. At 3:01 a.m., the phone pinged. Unknown number. Don't stop running. Then, it takes your face when you freeze. I stared at the screen, paralyzed. Then another text came in. Too late. I felt breath on the back of my neck. The forest changed. Paths looped. Landmarks moved. I carved an X into a tree. 10 minutes later, I found the same tree ahead of me. The phone buzzed every hour with new images. Some showed me standing in places I'd never been. One showed me smiling up at the camera, but I hadn't smiled in days. Another showed me walking without a shadow. I hurled it into a ravine. 10 minutes later, I felt a weight in my pocket. It was back. Screen cracked. One new image. Me, eyes hollow, standing next to someone identical to me. Same shirt, same bag. Except the other me had no face. I made it. Or I thought I did. I saw cars, asphalt, civilization. I ran toward the road. I saw a ranger waving. He looked familiar. Then I realized. He was me, waving me forward. Behind him, the phone pinged again. Photo hash 77. A new image. Me, walking toward a trap. I ran the other way, deeper into the woods. I'm still running. Still here. The phone won't let me go. Every time I try to leave, it rewrites the trail. The photos now show me rotting, like something is eating me from inside the lens. I can't sleep. If I do, it takes a piece. There are now 99 photos. I know what comes next. In one of them, my hands are missing. In another, I'm smiling with no teeth. And in the newest one, I'm holding a phone, taking a photo of you.